What's up, guys?
Hi. What? I thought you were gonna go.
Okay, let's cut it here. What's up, guys? I'm Chandler.
I'm Demi.
Right now we're gonna ask each other random questions. We both have random questions, kind of thought-provoking questions, and just wing it and see our answers, just for the heck of it. It's the day before Thanksgiving. We have nothing else to do, so okay. I'll ask you a random question, so I'll just start with one. I had one that was, what would you change your name to, but that doesn't work. We'll just do a simple one. If your home was on fire, what is the top 3 things that you would choose or grab?
It's all good. It's just water. Top 3 things.
Yeah. What is the top 3 things you would choose? You'd grab before running out.
I don't know if I should say this on camera, but I have like my passport and our marriage license and all of our important stuff in like a bin.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's literally probably the first thing I would grab.
Sure. We don't have a ton of stuff.
I was just thinking. So we live in like what's the square footage here?
Oh, like 400, 500
so
square feet.
we're sitting at our kitchen table. There's literally the kitchen.
It's a
closet,
studio setup, basically.
Bedroom. It's all right here. But when we moved in here, you didn't have much, and neither did I really. But I definitely got rid of a bunch of stuff.
I literally have like 3 things of silver, like a bowl, a cup, no silverware, like a few books, my work clothes, and like my work.
It's funny because I can see everything that we own.
Yeah.
So I would definitely go for that. And then we have another bin that has a lot of the stuff since we first started dating.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
movie tickets and like different wristbands and just little cute memories from stuff we've done. So I'd grab that. And you?
I was like, I'm still burning.
I'd grab you. You'd be up. You'd be up.
It's a pretty easy question. This is what we have.
Other than that, like
The essentials.
journals. We have a ton of journals.
Yeah. Journals, kind of the legal stuff.
I've thought about this before, but literally everything's replaceable.
Well, I was thinking I'd probably, other than you, but like grab like my phone and laptop for work, but everything else, I mean, for the most part, I can just go buy again.
That's exactly.
Even the phone and laptop, I could go get like, yeah, pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
you go for it.
when do you feel most happy?
Most happy with you, when I'm with you, when I'm progressing forward in life, whether that's physical, work related, like financial, spiritual, probably, when I'm making progress. And when I'm making progress with you. That's probably my simple answer. What about you?
When do I feel most happy? I think in general, just when I feel passionate. When I feel like I'm living my passion and my purpose.
Okay, so take it one step further. What's your passion, would you say? What's your purpose? In just a simple breakdown.
I feel like it's the same as most people's, and that's just to help people.
Okay, so how do you plan on helping people? Or how are you helping people?
Through sobriety, through talking about it, through my blog and videos and podcasts.
We've talked about this before, and it's like, I mean, if you break down your life and what you've been through a lot. More than most people I've ever met. And then where you're at now, and your way to interpret it and break it down, and then kind of what you're doing is basically talk about it. I mean, we've seen, even recently, a lot of people are attracted to it because they're going through similar.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I think it's interesting because a lot of my life, just in the past, I've had people ask me, like, what do you want to do in life? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is your goal? And I remember in my teens and then like even after high school into college and stuff, like I never really had a direction.
Sure.
And it was hard because I'm like, well, I don't know what we're supposed to do in life. Like I just never really had, I felt like I was always just kind of like floating through life.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really have any direction.
Sure.
And so now, like with my blog and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I finally feel a passion and a purpose. And I feel most happy when I'm contributing to that. Obviously, I feel super happy with you. And I'm very grateful for like the life that we have. But yeah, I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it's cool just to see the momentum, little by little, you're making with it, but also the impact so quickly that you're making at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that.
I feel like you and our relationship go hand in hand with all of it, though.
Well, it's the balance of, we obviously connect, me and you, but we also have very different passions that we're going towards, but they're also the same at the same time.
But we keep each other grounded and balanced, and just being able to talk about stuff on a daily basis makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not surface level. Yeah, I like that. Okay. What's something you think every person should experience in their lifetime?
That's hard. I think some type of failure or hardship, which I think most people do, but something that's going to strengthen your character.
Dig into that a little more. What do you mean by that?
I think if life was super easy and we didn't really have any obstacles, we wouldn't learn how to become stronger humans.
Okay.
Maybe I'm pulling that from past experience.
No, yeah. No, I get what you're saying, for sure. I'll build on yours with mine. I'd probably say on top of that, love, at the same time. And I guess they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that I know they've only gone through very little and seeing their perspective on life.
That's what you and I always talk about, is how it's just good for people to go through. Everybody goes through different things in life, and it gives you a different perspective than somebody else.
And I think it's just as important to go through the hard stuff, but also to feel the good.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so easy to get too deep into that darkness and forget what it's like on the other side.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's always changing. We look at where me and you were at a year ago with just personal life. It's 100% different.
Yeah.
Where it's at now. You know what I mean? And I don't know. So just remembering I think experiencing it once, it's out there, so it's real. Yeah. Okay.
Am I next or you next?
Yeah, you can go. You gotta remember, I don't know how entertaining this will be. This is more just me and you BSing on like I said, night before Thanksgiving.
I think we're super entertaining.
Yeah, me too. It's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night. It's okay. You hit it.
Are aliens real?
What do you define as an alien?
Just give me your answer.
Well, I gotta know more what you're saying.
Are aliens real? Extraterrestrials. Not UFOs.
Would you classify like a spirit an alien? Would you classify a ghost as an alien? What are you classifying as an alien?
If you wanted to get deep, yes. But an extraterrestrial being, like a gray.
I think it's more likely that there's stuff coming from. I have more like belief that it's coming from like a different dimension than it is like a different planet has a bunch of aliens.
Okay, so beings from another planet.
Are they real?
Do they exist?
It's possible. I don't know. I think it's deeper than that, right?
Tell me about it.
I think they're coming. If there is stuff coming, which I think there probably is, is coming from more of a different dimension than it is them flying through space on their UFOs from a different planet.
But if you look at the galaxy and you see that we're just a small piece of a big picture,
What if the
and
galaxy
there are
was...
other planets, wouldn't it make sense that there was life on other planets?
Yeah,
as well as
no doubt.
other dimensions.
I think there's other... I think it's... I just had this, like... I almost think the galaxy is like our thoughts. Like, it's infinite, and it's as deep as you want to take it. That's... I don't know, that just hit me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but... I'm like, do I think there's other planets with different beings? Yes, but I don't think it's in our dimension necessarily. I think it's almost like in a different dimension that's the same as ours, just in a different arena. That doesn't make sense. But do I think, like, if we just traveled through space right now, would we find something else? Maybe. But I think it's probably more of a different level. Like
Dimension.
different dimension. It's almost like, what's the whole, like, inch deep, mile wide?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think we are. I think we're like, our life that we know, and just a level down is a whole different dimension, but it's not as far away as we think it is.
Okay.
I guess. So yes and no. How do you manage stress? Whether it's work, whether it's life, personal.
I cry.
You manage it differently than I do, I think.
I feel like I deal with stress pretty well. I feel like it hits me in days. It's like I'll go a whole month and, like, day-to-day stress is usually okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then there'll be a day where it just, like, all
Overwhelming.
hits me and I just don't want to get out of bed.
Okay.
So I guess on day-to-day,
Do you feel like you acknowledge stress, or do you let it hinder and build up until you can't avoid it anymore?
I can't really think of anything that's super stressful in my life.
Mm-hmm. You have a pretty good rap on stuff.
I feel like I've worked really hard through a lot of shit
Mm-hmm.
to get to a place of feeling, like, good with my life.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, things are always going to be stressful. I feel like gratitude, like being grateful,
Mm-hmm.
helps a lot. We used to have a bathtub, but we don't anymore. And so when I used to get super stressed out, Chandler would make me a bath with scented bath salts and candles, but now we have a really tiny shower. So, I don't know. I feel like when I'm stressed, it's just best to relax and take it easy and feel stressed or whatever and move on. I don't know. What
So
about you?
feel it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
How do you manage stress? What's the, like... I think what I do, I get very chaotic very quickly. And so I have to stop and go, okay, what am I actually up against? Like, the thoughts become, or the feelings become overwhelming. So I got to tone it down and go, okay, what is my list of things I got to accomplish? What is the most important compared to least important?
Yeah.
And then being able to just attack each one little by little.
Mm-hmm.
I almost thrive in stress, but also at the same time, it's so overwhelming at the same time. So you have to do that balance of understanding what you're up against compared to just being in the feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if you have 2 hours to go before you have to leave and you haven't, for like vacation, and you haven't packed, instead of like, oh crap, I don't even have anything, like going, okay, what do I got to do? How much time do I got?
Prioritize, basically.
Prioritize. That's what I'm saying. Okay. But yeah, that's what I'd say I do on that end. Which can be both good and bad, depending on how you approach
I
it.
really can't think of, like, what stresses me out.
I think when you have certain insecurities that stresses you out.
Yeah. And I usually have little, like, bursts
Mm-hmm.
of maybe anger
Yeah.
or sadness.
Yeah.
But it usually only takes me a couple minutes to realize it and acknowledge it and then move on.
It doesn't last long, but I would say that's what happens is it hits you from either an anger
Yeah.
or a sadness trying to deal with
frustration.
it. Yeah. And then sometimes it's me hitting you from a different angle, so you're seeing what's happening, and then you're able to kind of wrap your head around it and move.
Yep. Okay. Hopefully this is fine to ask. I don't see why not. So when you were dating before me,
what
was like the biggest turnoff?
Biggest turnoff? Biggest turnoff. That's like a red flag almost, or
just that made you not interested anymore.
I'd almost say either open-mindedness or manners, mainly.
Oh, those are good.
And not necessarily like all polite manners, but I've told you that story. I went on a first date with the girl, and she was very controlling very quickly, and she wanted to go get, I think it was like McDonald's or something. So I'm like, cool, let's go do that. It's easy going. But then I just noticed little things where she didn't say thank you. Then she left all the trash in my car.
Yeah.
And it's like, those could be simple things. It could be something like during the moment you forget. But it was, I saw what's that, a trend?
I can think of a few people like that.
Is that the right word? A trend? Or like you saw it happening little by little? It wasn't just one thing and you're like, oh, that's whatever. It was little by little. I saw it happening over and over again throughout the date. So that was something. And also just the openness on perspective, opinion. That's like my biggest thing. I don't care if we disagree on a subject completely. You know, whether it's politics or religion or whatever. Those are usually the two big ones.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to have a conversation with me and share your opinion and how you came about that or what your perspective is.
Instead of just shutting it down.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing for, it's like, hey, back at you, you know. But if someone's willing to have a conversation and talk, I enjoy that. But as far as turnoffs would be, what's the word from, like they assume something. Like they assume that it's theirs. It's like the opposite of gratitude.
Freaking A. I know exactly what you're talking about.
When they just assume like you should be doing something.
Oh, what is it called?
Anyway, but
it's the perfect word for like millennials.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't think of it. It's like right there on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Anyway, so whether they're not grateful and not open. What about you? What's yours? Say when you're in the dating world, maybe in relationships or whatever, like what's your biggest turnoff?
I think when somebody doesn't have like goals or ambition.
Okay. So what do you mean by that? I know it's obvious, but like what do you mean by that? Because what if someone...
If they don't really have anything that they want to pursue in life.
Okay.
Like if they're just kind of content.
What's your definition of content?
Not growing. So not having a growth mindset.
Okay.
Like not doing things to improve themselves and not
okay.
trying to move forward and be better.
Just an overall progression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else? Anything else? Give me one more that like you experienced in your history.
I think the open-mindedness thing too.
Okay.
Being able to have a conversation even when you disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've both kind of experienced that. I have definitely in the past. And
especially, I mean, having like a conspiracy podcast and, you know, like we're currently going through studying religion and coming up with our own ideas of what the afterlife is and all that.
I just think it's cool when someone can be like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. Like it maybe goes against my beliefs or something, but tell me more about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool when people can do that.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, cool. I don't know what
Entitled.
Entitlement, exactly.
Entitlement. It just came to me so quick.
Okay, this is okay, what in life is beautiful
Where
to
did you get these questions from?
My head. What in life is beautiful to you? When you think like beauty, not necessarily looks, but I'm saying like soulfully, what is beautiful to you?
In a person?
In anything. Yeah.
I don't know.
Come on, think of it.
I think it's beautiful when people are able to be themselves.
Ooh, I was just thinking that. That's funny.
I feel like we live in a society where people are afraid to be themselves. So I think it's beautiful, and it's like, what's the word? Admirable?
Sure.
When
Yeah.
people are just fully themselves.
I was gonna say when people are okay with their flaws, like when they own their flaws. I've said it before.
Yeah.
It's like I remember. I don't know what it was, but there was a story or somebody was talking about a certain person or something. It was a lady with like a really bad smile, like her teeth were all, but she smiled so much that it's like it was such a more beautiful thing to see than the perfect teeth and the whitest teeth. Like
It's like just owning it. Owning your imperfections.
I think it's because we all know we have that. And regardless if you have plastic surgery or if you have the best car or whatever, we all have that. So it's almost like a way to accept ourselves by seeing it.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about you?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Same thing. I like real people. What do I mean by that? Maybe it is like they accept their flaws, but I think deeper than that. Like it's almost like when somebody truly knows who they are and they're not afraid to be who they are.
Yeah.
Because I feel like one, half the time we're battling with the fact that we're scared to put our true selves out there, but at the same time, half of us don't even know what our true self is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I was telling my brother this today. Like if you start paying attention to how people work and how people are acting, it's 90% of the time it's like to appeal everyone else. You know?
True.
It's very weird to
Like
watch.
people are living
Including-
their life for other people.
Including us, you know, like, and it's like we're figuring out more and more, but you start looking at like your daily actions, your daily thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, everything from the way you dress to everything. So I think just when I see people that are get away from that fear of being judged.
I like that. My next.
Yeah,
my
I think I'm out of questions. So
My next. Okay, this is our last one.
that's all I got.
What do you think the biggest reason? These are deep. What do you think the biggest reason people are unhappy in life?
What's the biggest reason people are unhappy in life? I think it's because everybody's comparing them. Okay. Okay, so what was it? We had a battery die, but what I was saying is,
How you'd like to travel to unknown places?
yeah, as far as being truly happy, right? Yeah, I think it's, if you really look at it, that was one thing being in the real estate business that I found out. There's plenty of people that are super successful, but I'm like, every realtor, all these guys have so nice cars. And then I started getting deeper into it, and I'm realizing half of them are leasing their cars, half of them can't afford their cars, and everyone's trying to keep up with an image that they assume they should be playing.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, going back to like, I don't have a lot of clothes, you know? I would just wear the same shirts every day and same pants, and after a while it's like, well, what for? You know, why am I wearing these? And it's because you want to look a certain way for other people, and I run into comparing myself to others all the time. So that's usually my biggest flaw I have with myself, is assuming I have to be at a certain place based on other people and their story. So that's what I would say. What do you think on that?
Exactly what you said. No, I'm serious. You said it like word for word what I think.
Okay.
It's people just not living in alignment with themselves and not doing what they truly want to, or what they're passionate about, or...
So how does someone do that then? How about we take one step further? Like,
My mind goes to like the Matrix.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like a lot of people just don't see a bigger picture. A lot of people will just work, you know, like a 9 to 5, and they're...
Do you think it's perspective?
Maybe.
Do you think it's like possibility?
I think a lot of people just don't realize that they can do what they want in life.
Okay, this just came to mind. So if you've ever hiked a mountain before, and it was like a 15-mile hike that I wasn't planning on one day, but I knew there was a spot that I wanted to get to, and I haven't been hiking, wasn't working out or any of that, so it's definitely out of my like realm of possibility at the time. And I remember going a few miles in, I was like, this is a lot. It's like I should turn around, you know, and my legs are starting to hurt. I'm like, well, let's just go a little farther. And it's always surprising to me whenever you do those kind of hikes on what your body is capable of.
Totally.
And realizing like your mind in the moment thinks you're capable of 25%, but your body's actually capable of 100%. So it's how, I guess maybe looking at life, if you are only around people that work a certain job or make a certain amount of income or have a certain amount of happiness, you're that 25% of thought, right? Is it perspective? Is it...
I think so. I think a lot of people just don't realize that they can do more.
So what about the single mom that has 3 kids and she's working 2 jobs? It's easy to say that someone like that in that position, you know, everything's possible. It's just a matter of how much time and effort and work you're willing to put into it to figure it out. That's one thing that's interesting to me is like anybody in any position, there's been someone successful that's done what they've done from the spot that you've been in.
I guess it's like, how bad do you want it? Because it just made me think of a story. I forget where I heard it, but it was a woman who was in a position like that. You know, single mom, bunch of kids, didn't really have time to do anything for herself, but she knew that she had a dream of traveling the world. So what she did was she kept a little jar in the back of her closet, and for like, I don't know, it was like 5 or 10 years or something, she kept putting money away until her kids were old enough, until she had the time to where she was able to go and live her dream.
I remember there was a realtor in my office, and I think she was like barely getting by. They like told this story at a meeting once, and she had a few kids, and it was something like she basically started bringing them to showings, things like that, because she didn't have time to like the babies. It was like she only had a certain amount of time, and so she's going, okay, how can I make better time with this? So she brought her kids with her at showings, which ended up helping her because it made her more relatable, I think, something like that. And all of a sudden she started getting that little momentum happening because of a couple of adjustments she made.
Yep.
We always talk about like it's so like easy to go, say you're in the shizziest position you can be in, going, well, that's easy for you guys to say, but I have this I'm dealing with. Well, it's like, well, okay, well then what now? Are you done?
Yeah.
Is it just you're dead now? You're saying that there's nothing you can do. You know, you're 1 out of trillion sperm mixed with the eggs or whatever that works. And like the likelihood of you becoming a human, and there's no one else anything near what you are, and you're telling me there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then there's nothing. Like you just sealed your fate.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want it bad enough, and like whatever that means, you'll figure it out.
Yep.
You know? I don't know.
I like when you get passionate.
That's just a video. Okay. Well, that's our random questions. We'll do another one, I guess.